Kellan Wyatt will start on the right with Sammy and then go to Matt.
Kellan, you've played Indiana a couple times in your career. How is it, as you imagined it, coming here now with IU? Is it something that you saw from afar to bring you here?
Yeah, I played them a couple times, like you said, and every time I played them, it always felt like they've had a competitive team, and they always fought hard on everything they did from offensive, defense down to special teams, and I really came here just to try to be a part of something special like that, and I'm looking forward to keep developing relationships with the guys to be one of those guys that can make an impact for this team.
We'll go third row right to Matt, and then we'll go to Mike.
Kellan, at Maryland, I know you're kind of labeled more as a linebacker. You still kind of played on the edge, but how's your role maybe similar and different here to what you were doing when you were with them?
It's pretty similar for the most part. I'm kind of traveling, playing multiple positions, which is a good thing. Being more versatile and trying to find more ways to not come off the field. So I think it's really similar. I was dropping and rushing at Maryland, same thing I'm doing here. Sometimes just from different spots. So.
Go to your right to Mike, and then to Zach.
Did you have any familiarity with the coaching staff? Did they kind of talk to you at all when they were at JMU, or any new Brian Haynes at all, or was it all fresh kind of when you went to the transfer portal?
Yeah, I think it was pretty fresh. At the time, I was just trying to explore options, and I always kept this team in the back of my mind because I knew how special they were, especially how they played last year. But coming into going into the portal, I didn't know any of them, and then once I got the chance to see them and be around them, that was when I really felt like this was the place for me.
Staying left to Zach, and then go to Seth.
I guess is it maybe whether it's a person, whether it's something you've been doing in your process, but not being here for spring and trying to sort of flatten that learning curve without the spring season. How have you approached that, and has there been anybody that's sort of, I don't want to say taking you under their wing, but really kind of tried to help you along and help you getting comfortable here?
Yeah, it could always be tough. If the situation was right in the wintertime, I would have been here. But unfortunately, it didn't turn out that way. So when I got here in the summer, obviously we have a shorter time to learn everything. And, when you have a guy like Mikhail in the room, Kamara, you learn a lot from him, especially the season he had last year. So, you could pick up things and techniques and, stuff like that from him, and you kind of play off each other. And I feel like, it's going to be good for us.
Staying left with Seth, and then we'll go to Zach B.
Yeah, from either the games, however much you went up against him while you were at Maryland against Indiana, or just the times you've gone up against him in practice now, just, what's it like lining up against Carter Smith, and what makes him, a difficult competitor?
Yeah, I've seen Carter a couple times, and, it's hard to find things to beat him with. And, he doesn't have many flaws in his game. Going against him every day in practice, not only makes him better, it also makes me better. I just looking forward to keep stacking days with a guy like that, and and any other tackle on the team, Khalil Benson, stuff like that. So, just looking forward to stacking days and keep getting better with those type of guys.
Did you go head to head with him while you were at Maryland at all?
I did, yeah. We've had our one-on-ones for sure.
We'll go on your right to Zach B, and then Colin.
On Monday, Coach Signetti called you a high-effort, high-energy guy. Where do you kind of draw that energy and effort from when you're on the field?
I think it's just from my background. From where I came up at, that's how I was, brought up, and that's how I grew up. Just to always stay humble and work hard. And it's when you see high energy guys like that on the field, you kind of stand out. And I just would like to be one of those players that stand out on the field.
We'll go to Colin, and then Jeff.
Coming over here with Roman from Maryland, how have you kind of developed that relationship both at Maryland and here, and what have you seen from him and the rest of the running backs as a whole?
Yeah, Roman's my guy. He's been. I've seen him every college year I've been in college. And Roman, he's progressed really good in his process. I believe he came here in the winter. And they also make us better. It's every rep is competition. Honestly, every team period, every one-on-one, every anything. So when you have backs like that and any other back, all of them are really good and special in their own ways. They make all of us better. So
We'll go on your left, second row to Joe, and then to Sammy.
Hey, Kellan. Mikhail told us earlier that he's eyeing 20 sacks. If he doesn't get that, he wants to break the school record. I mean, what is it like playing with a guy like that? I mean, how is his play style on this day-to-day?
Yeah, it's special having a guy like that, man. I look at him as one of those high energy guys as well. Always working. If something doesn't work, he has plan B. And I think it's good because I feel as though I'm the same way. And I'm looking forward to it, man. You have a guy like that. It brings certain things out from I guess from like an offense perspective that as a defense we could take advantage of.
Right to Sammy and then to Pete.
Kellan, what does Aiden Fisher mean to this defense, and how does his communication really help you guys line up and be tough to game plan against?
Yeah, Aiden's like the alpha on the defense, man. He's talking to everybody. He don't just talk to the backer. He's talking to people behind him, people in front of him. So he's always been that type of guy. I seen him last year, and I'm on the sideline watching him, and he's the loudest player on the field, and it's already loud in the stadium enough. So, just playing with a guy like that knows how to communicate really well, I think it makes everybody else's job pretty easy.
We'll go on your left to Pete.
Yeah, Kellan, how optimistic are you about this defense? What excites you about this defense and the impact you guys can make?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I was excited from first day again here in June. I think before I even got here, I was trying to get the playbook, so just trying to keep up with guys because a lot of guys got here in the winter, and like I said, I wasn't able to do that at the time. But yeah, it's exciting having guys like this that that have that chip on their shoulder that always want to go hard and win every rep basically.
We'll go Eli in the third row up top, and then Daniel.
Hey, Kellan. Yeah, kind of, I guess, maybe coattailing off that, getting adjusted to the new program, and now you got a couple weeks under your belt with fall camp here. What is the identity that you guys want to create, not only on the defense, but overall as a team as well?
I think we just want to be dominant as a team. Obviously the goal on defense is not to let them score, and we want to put up as much points as we can on offense. So as long as we get those two things done, we'll be in good shape.
And last one, front row left to Daniel.
You had mentioned that you kept IU, kind of on the mind because it was a special team. What about this team is special? Like, what have you learned about it that's like, okay, I can see why it is special?
Yeah, you have a lot of guys that are unique in their own way, and they find a way to make a play no matter the circumstance, no matter if it's a good look or not. So guys like that, just playing with them, it makes everybody else's job easy. You know what I'm saying? It makes everybody else fly to the ball and want to play harder and things like that. So having special players around you, it makes you want to step your game up as well. So it makes you want to have that chip on your shoulder as well.
Great. Thanks, Kellan.
Appreciate it.